Hey guys, it's Courtney King here with King Realty Management. A bunch of you have been messaging me saying, hey Courtney, I haven't seen you on Facebook Live, like what's going on? I tell you, 2019 is off to an amazing start. I'll send you guys some updates soon. I feel like the start of this year, I want to call it the year of the switch up. So last year, as you know, I did weekly videos on every Wednesday tackling some real estate topic, whether it be home buying, selling your home, investing in real estate, property management, all of that good stuff. Well, today I wanted to hop on and talk a little bit about surveys. Had a conversation with a client of mine and also an agent of mine and they were like, why do we need a survey? What is a survey? And it's funny because I throw that term around so loosely, like, oh yeah, everybody knows what that is. And I realize a lot of people don't. So let's break it down. It's actually very, very simple. So a survey, so you know, is a piece of paper that basically maps how a property sits on the land that it's on. Okay, so it's like a map, and it's like a drawing. So a surveyor goes out there, looks at different legal descriptions, and basically draws the actual lot that a home is on, and then also where the home is placed on that lot. In addition to that, they note any easements. So you got power lines in your backyard, cable lines, different utility easements that are underground. You can't really see them 9 times out of 10. And so all of those items are marked on that map on the survey. Additionally, what else is marked? Fence lines. So they mark where the fence is. You know, a lot of cities have different setback requirements where they say your property has to sit back so many feet from the actual street. And so all of those different things are marked on this survey, and it's like a map. So that's what a survey is in a very, very quick summary and just plain language, right? I'm sure surveyors that may be watching this are like, oh, what about this? What about that? I'm not a surveyor, so if you need a good surveyor referral, let me know. Next thing, do you need a survey? Okay, that's a good question. If you are paying cash for a house, a survey is not necessarily required, but in a minute I'll tell you why it would be a good idea to get one. If you are obtaining financing to purchase a property, then here in Texas, a survey is required, okay? One of our clients had mentioned that she was paying cash for a property, which is great, but she said, you know what, this current survey that we got from the seller is old. I don't want it. And so I just wanted to break that down. If a survey is old, but it's legible, and there's not been any major changes made to the structure of the property or the fence or whatever, then even though the survey is old, it could still be usable. So that her preference is just to get a new one, and that's totally cool. Having a new survey just makes it nice and easier to read. Sometimes the old surveys are blurry or maybe they just, you know, are not the nicest to look at. And so in that case, this particular client opted for a new survey. So even if you're paying cash for a property, I still would recommend getting a survey. So as a buyer, you have an option of asking the seller to provide an existing survey that they already have and certify of any changes, if any, have been made to that property. Or you, as a home buyer, can say, you know what, I want the seller to pay for a new survey. Now, whether the seller pays for it or not, that's a whole different story, and that's a whole different Facebook Live. But that's something that you can request. Or you, as the buyer, can opt to pay for a new survey. Just so you know, most surveys, if you order a new one, are ordered by the title company. So it's not necessarily like you have to go find a surveyor. Like the title company will do all of that for you. But if you're one of those folks that want to have a little bit more say-so in who does the surveying, even though it's like a license type thing, all surveys should be the same, you can choose. But the title company usually makes it very, very easy for you. Part of the reason for getting a survey is to establish your lot and the ownership that you have of this particular home and the land that it sits on. And so the title company issues what is called title insurance, and that title insurance basically ensures that you are obtaining true ownership of a particular property. If you don't get a survey, there might be an exception to your title coverage. So if, for example, you say, you know what, no, I don't want a survey, and then later on down the line, it turns out that your fence is too far over into the next person's property, and you go to your title company to say, hey, look, y'all should have caught this. Well, if you opted not to get a survey, then you're out of luck, and the title company is not going to be able to help you do anything. Versus if you have a survey and the survey is approved by the title company, if there's any issues with ownership with respect to the survey, or maybe a neighbor's fence is encroaching on your property or vice versa, then you may get a little bit more help from the title company that issued the title policy. This is mainly for home buyers. For sellers, let's say you already own a home, and you're considering selling the property, make sure you dig in your records to find the survey that you got when you first bought the property. If you got one, of course, because that is actually going to save you like $400 or $500 on just kind of a normal size single family home and lot, right? If you're buying acreage, then definitely those surveys are going to be way more expensive than $400 or $500. So you're going to make sure that you contact the title company that you're using to get a quote for how much that survey costs. Specifically with folks that are buying, more than 1 acre, I 100% of the time recommend getting a new survey, because if you're like looking to build a farm or redevelop the property or do different things, you want kind of an up-to-date survey to make sure that you are aware of what you're buying. I read somewhere, it was like a case study where somebody bought, I don't know, like 50 acres and was relying on a very old survey, or didn't get a survey at all, and he thought he was buying a certain plat, a certain tract of land, and he wasn't, and he was hot. Later on, like a year down the line, when he realized, oh wow, I really don't own that property that I thought I owned. So best practice in general, get a survey, guys. Like, I know sometimes people want to save a little bit of money, but in the grand scheme of things, it's very, very important that you know what you're buying, you know that your fence and your property is all within your actual property lines. And let's face it, $300, $400, $500 is a drop in the bucket, especially if it can prevent headaches in the future with ownership. So that was my survey video in a nutshell. If you have any specific questions, comment below. Reach out to me, send me a private message. As always, you can find us online, kingrealtytx.com. On Instagram and Twitter, King Realty DFW. On YouTube, which is King Realty TX. In the month of February, my goal is to get back more to doing these regular live videos, and you're also going to see me more in Houston. So my people in H-Town, keep an eye out on that. I'm going to show you some really cool investment projects that we have going. So I hope you guys have an amazing weekend, and I will talk to you next time.